Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you, as always, from the Retro Wrestling Archive here in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama. And join me in welcoming my co-host. It's one half of the P3 Express, the man who booked and hosted an extremely successful stand-up comedy show last Saturday night in Jackson, Tennessee. You know him, you love him. It's the one and only Richard Mullican of P3 Radio. Look at you, still smiling from last Saturday night.
Sorry, I'm not Josh. for one of the listeners.
BT just turned the show off right now.
Where the hell is Josh at?
This was the last minute before I get a message from BT as soon as it's over. This was the very last moment issue with Josh not being able to be here, and I didn't want to spring that on BT where he'd be staying up all night watching this show. So
Josh is having an experimental procedure done. I'm very happy for him. In this time and age, Gene, when everybody's bleaching it, Josh is doing a anal pigmentation. He wants it as dark as possible. So he had his moment come up. They called his number, and it just so happened to be today. So Godspeed. It's almost like a tattooing process that they have to do.
Sounds very painful.
It does.
I commend him for having I was going to say having the balls to do it, but it's right across. Anyway.
Yeah. You got a fleshy thumb bridge that you have to get to from the,
So, everybody say a prayer for Josh Briley as he goes through this procedure. But, hey, we mentioned it right there. Big thank you to everyone who came to the show last Saturday night. We especially want to thank friends of the show, Brandon Wheeler, Misty Shea, Neil Taylor, Charlotte Cates, Mike and Tiffany Needham, and all the great comics who performed at Cody's Bar and Grill. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue. And if you want to hear all about the show, you can check out our post-show Hot Mic segment. But, while we're here, Richard, I know all of the, viewers and listeners of the show know that you was a little nervous going into this thing. So tell us just a little bit about the experience and how you're feeling right now, a week removed.
Dude, I was on cloud nine all week last week after the show because like I was telling Josh on P3 Radio the other day, I said my wife was running the door, and at like 5:55, it was you, me, and a buddy of mine from school. And that was about it. And we were just sitting at the bar. And I was like, this thing is going to tank terribly. And then about like 6:15, like people just started coming in out of the woodwork, and I walked up to my wife about 6:40, and we had a pretty good crowd at the time. And she goes, what's crazy about this is there's only 2 people that pre-bought tickets that's come in. Everybody you see is walk-ups. And I was like, what?
That was wild.
So we ended up having, I think the final count, if you include the comics, the workers, everybody in the building, was over 100 people in a building that held 200, they say, but there's no way you're fitting 200 people.
You would have to grease people up and wedge them in with a crowbar to get 200.
Yeah.
I mean, you had as many people as could comfortably be in that place to eat and watch a comedy show, I think.
And it really went well. We didn't have any problems. The venue made money. What was funny was after it was all over, I'm like having a drink and celebrating the night, and I'm like, it's got to be like 1-2 in the morning. Look at my watch, it's 10:30. It's like I peaked early, but thanks. The thing that made it like the best is having people coming up and bringing up this show. And talking about how they watch this show and they're entertained by this show. And, was it Brandon that brought us the nice pictures?
Yeah, sure did.
Dude, if we only had 4 people show up, the fact that he wanted us to autograph that, like, really made my night. When you told me that, I was like it made the night a success already, that somebody listens to our bullshit enough that they came from all the way from Arkansas.
Yeah, so he traveled from Jonesboro, Arkansas, home of BT and, someone else we might mention here in a minute. But, man, that was cool. My buddy Neil, I've known forever, came up from, Corinth along with Charlotte, and then Mike and Tiffany Needham were there. And I think Mike was just there because he wanted to heckle me if I got up there and bombed. So I willed myself not to. Just to spite Mike, to be honest. I'm
gonna be honest, dude. You killed. Like, I mean, my wife had talked about it for the past couple of days about how like you just blew everybody away. Not that we'd only seen you in a hosting capacity, which is a little different. But you know, Josh and me were sitting there just mouth on the floor, laughing, you know, just shocked and amazed at just like, man, it's like I felt bad even going back up after you and just saying good night to everybody. I'm like, no, we just turn the music on, Josh. Let's go. Because dude, you killed it. Like, as good as I thought it was going to be, it was 10 times better. Like I said, and I was so happy that, you know, that you did that well. You know, like you did so well at it. I was so happy. And like I said, knew you were going to kill it, but I didn't know you were going to just blow it up. Like I said, kill it, brought it back to life and killed it again.
Bless your heart.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we got to do it again sometime now.
Yeah. I appreciate it. You know, on my shows, I always like thought I wanted to make it about everybody else. So I just kind of go up there and host and kind of just, you know, do my thing and not really try to stand out. But man, you had some really, really, you know, you started out with a great set. You had some really, really funny people. And like I said, here I've had, you know, I've got friends there watching. And I'm like, I can't go up there and eat shit in front of everybody. Like, I'm just fixed to go up there and own this. And the great thing was, you know, we talked about this and we'll talk about this a little more on the after show, but you know, that material I hadn't done in a year. And so it was kind of fresh to me again. I was kind of excited to do it and you'll learn the more you do this, you've got your tried and true material. You got to do it because you know it works, but you get so sick of it after a while.
Right.
So had that going for me. But if you want to hear more about that, check out the after show. We're going to talk a little more in depth about the comedy show and something else we're going to do. Just a little teaser here. I got an interesting message from one of our patrons, our friend from Germany, who shared some stuff he learned about Jeff Gaylord that he thought we'd find interesting, and I certainly did. And I'm going to share it with you in the post show over on the Retro Wrestling Archive Patreon. So join us for that. But before we get to why you're here, we finally, after begging for weeks, we finally got a new message over at 256 Egg Iron. And boy, it's a doozy. Let's check that out right now, Richard.
Let me tell you sons of bitches something right now. You don't get to bash me and run me down all the time and then go in and try to ask me questions and expect a fucking answer. How about this for an answer? Go fuck yourselves. Nobody will ever showcase my company on their YouTube channel, ever. And if you do, you can expect to get your channel shut down, buddy. I worked my brains out single-handedly to build Memphis Wrestling back up. All that work just for goofballs like Brian fucking Trammell and that lifeguard with stupid fucking hair to ruin any credibility that it has left. I hope all of you sons of bitches go fuck off on a mountain somewhere off that son of a bitch in a fiery burning wreck. I hate your freaking guts. I would not give you an Uber if you were the last son of bitches on this earth. Fuck off.
Wow. Somebody's coming in hot this week, Richard.
I'm telling you. It's almost like somebody asked for his life work.
Man, I think so. I don't know what all that's about. And I'm not going to speculate on who that was, but I think he did say something true. He said he worked his brains out, and apparently so. But,
wow. We will not be ignored, sir.
That's right. We shall persist. I can't speak for Brian fucking Trammell or the lifeguard with the stupid hair, as he put it. I don't even know who that could be, but anyway, we won't dwell on that, folks. But
we'll just say like this is like Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent this, sir. You know who you are.
Yeah, you can stop this, or you can go further. It's the ball's in your court now. But right now, let's head back to November 27th, 1993. For another episode of USWA Championship Wrestling. Richard, me and you are going to try something new this week, something we've talked about and considered, but we've never actually pulled the trigger on it. Well, we're going to try it this week. We've talked about, you know, we watch along a match every now and again, and one week we actually watched 2 matches in one show, which was interesting. And we've kicked around the idea of, well, what if we just watched along the whole show, and then we just kind of amp it up when there's promos that people might want to hear or something like that. And so we're gonna try that this week. So me and you are fixing to watch the entire episode as we talk over it here, and we'll see how everybody feels about it. So let's pull it up right now. And I'm going to put that up on the screen. I hate watch-alongs where they leave them on the screen. You don't need to look at us. That just feels self-indulgent. So,
well, this is the show after Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yes, you're exactly right.
So everybody's probably ready to get away from the family. There's been so many domestics. That's why the crowd's so hot right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're happy to be anywhere but at home.
Right. It's like, I want to see somebody. Oh, look at that
guy's not. Some of them are.
The 90s jackets in this place.
Battle Royal to determine the unified world champion, and we talked a little.
So yeah, there was a battle royal for the unified title. We talked about last week how that was kind of an odd way to decide the unified title.
Right.
That's what happened, and we're about to see a clip of that here. But I'm like you kind of mentioned when I said that last week about, we're going to do another tournament. I'm like, yeah, that's true. We've kind of, had our fill of tournaments recently.
That like deciding a title with the over-the-top rope battle royal, though, it always leaves that possibility that something could go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the
textbook might accidentally be, well, never mind. No.
Yeah. Somebody gets injured and he's one of the last people in there, and all of a sudden TD Steele is in the ring, and
referee TD Steele's a new champion in there. Good luck, TD.
People will be rushing to the front of the line trying to get a title match. Just like
now, we've got a world title battle royal, and we've got referee TD Steele in the ring here. So as I was watching this the first time, I'm like, well, why we got a referee in the ring for a battle royal? But you'll see here in a minute why. And I'm still not exactly sure why a battle royal ended in a pinfall. But
wasn't Memphis the place where you could do pinfalls like during battle royals?
I think you may be right. They just kind of played it by ear. But I like that because, how do you, if you're wanting to turn Jeff Jarrett heel, how do you get heat other than Royal Rumble 92 where Hogan pulled Sid out, but the heel turn worked in reverse? Like, that should make Hogan the heel, but somehow we're supposed to be mad at Sid because Hogan pulled him out. That kind of worked. But I guess it's because Sid dumped Hogan out first. But it's every man for himself. Lord knows they had said that 10,000 times throughout the night.
Yeah, but that still doesn't seem right that Lawler's giving Jeff a pile driver.
Yeah. Yeah. Good buddies here.
Yeah, we're buddies, but I'm going to compress your C4.
He's punching his face off and trying to paralyze him.
Right.
So this son of a bitch does this right here. Oh, look at that in there. His feet on the ropes.
He was concussed. He just took a pile driver. You know what he was doing.
Now, that wasn't fabulous, Dave. Levy Auto Parts. Let's not forget our proud sponsor, Levy Auto Parts.
Shirt is just swallowing TD Steele.
That's clearly Frank Morrell or Paul Neighbors' Levy Auto Parts shirt he's rocking.
Could you imagine you're in the back and they go, we only have 2 shirts. Frank, take that shirt off and give it to TD.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, I'm good. Like, put it on, damn it.
It's all wet. I used to hate that Lawler used to wear those bike elbow pads.
Yeah.
That couldn't felt good if you were taking like an elbow or something from him.
No, you go pulling out the Dusty Rhodes elbow with a freaking skateboard elbow pad on. It's a bad day.
So we're getting heel with Jarrett now.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that, but the second time I watched this, I noticed he referred to himself to Corey and Dave, but not necessarily in the promo, but to them as Double J.
Ah.
So I was like, oh, okay. So we already figured that out because he's about to go there.
Yeah.
He's got the straps on his tights now.
Do you think the reason why he started doing, like, the reason why they turned him heel here is because he was going to be a heel in WWF and they wanted to see how it would work?
Yeah, 100%. Because at this point, Jeff Jarrett has never been a heel in his life.
Right.
So I figure they want him to get a feel for it and let them get a feel for can he pull it off. But, I think that was a good idea. I mean, he would have had to up it. Imagine Jeff Jarrett in '93 trying to be a babyface in WWF. I don't know how well that would have went.
I love how his gear is like they just went and said, "Hey, do you have anything for like a women's swimsuit?" It's like, yeah, we do. I was like, all right, well, make my gear out of it. I don't know. I think it. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just. I remember him talking about on a podcast or interview somewhere about the concept of this gear with the straps, but I can't remember what the story was on it.
The cape made it look more babyface. I bet that's why they got rid of the cape in WWE.
Yeah. And they're like, well, people aren't booing your outfit. It's like, well, what if we put a big light up JJ on top of your hat, like just a complete and total asshole? And matter of fact, if we made your whole damn entrance attire flash like a neon sign.
Uh-oh. Syphilis has entered the chat.
Oh my goodness. Now, I got to admit, we've been rough on poor Toni in recent weeks and these promos have usually just been screeching nonsense. Right. This segment, and we're going to be talking over it, so people aren't necessarily going to get the whole effect. They can go back and watch the episode on YouTube. But this was actually pretty well executed here. She hit all the points she needed to, and it really set up what we're going to see next. I thought, honestly, this is the best thing we've seen her do since she's been in Memphis, honestly.
Yeah. It doesn't come across as shrieky either. It comes across as a lady trying to take her shot,
And I can believe that, or if we're starting to believe, Jeff's he's moving towards being an arrogant prick. Yeah. He's going to listen to like a hot blonde come out here giving him advice rather than if we'd had Paul Neighbor go, Jeff, y'all not tag with Brian Christopher. Okay, why would you listen to this guy? But she's out here, she got her tits half out, and he's like, all right, I'm listening. What do you got to say?
Yeah, I like the fact they went with the loose woman here instead of like Paul Neighbors. But the Paul Neighbors angle would have been great because Jeff could have had a reason for the turn. He's like, "Come on, man! If I do what you say, can you let me have my sister back?"
Exactly. That'd be the long-term storytelling. Yeah. Is, well, I was trying to get my sister back. Well, she had been missing for months, and Daddy told me that I had to do whatever it took to get her back. Now, Jeff, I know he's got her in that basement. The only way we're going to get her out is if you listen to him and you let him manage you.
You got to earn his trust. And when he goes to sleep, you got to cartoon sneak into his living room and get that key.
And if he asks you to wear his Levy Auto Parts shirt, just put it on because he feels real strongly about it.
Jeff's like, before I go with you, Paul, I need proof of life.
Here's one of her fingers.
Damn it, don't take her fingers, Paul. You could just a picture with her holding today's newspaper will be fine.
It's fine. It ain't a diddling finger. It's just one you don't use.
It's a pinky finger. I'll be honest with you. Miss Adams here is actually looking the best she's looked.
Yeah.
I mean,
Josh is going to hate he missed this.
Yeah, he's really going to hate he missed this.
I mean, she could come out and talk Josh into turning on you. You know what I mean? Like she could talk him into doing P3 radio with BT, dressed like this.
Well, Josh claims he's seen ghosts. So I imagine that he probably could
muster this up.
Yeah. His imagination could run wild and
all that side boob he saw last week. He probably saw her in his dreams after that in one form or another. So we talked over it, but in case you missed the point here, she's basically telling Jeff that, he's the unified champion and why would you put yourself at risk defending a meaningless title like the USWA tag titles, especially with a guy like Brian Christopher who can't be trusted. Right. Which we know she's got a vendetta against Brian Christopher. That's her ex-boyfriend / whatever they were. Whatever we were supposed to believe they were. So now PG-13 that won a tournament to earn a tag team title shot, they're out here to wrestle Jeff and Brian for the USWA tag team titles.
And now they're that's right. They're tag team champions.
That's right.
We didn't plan this turn out as well as we should have.
No, he's Jeffy two belts, as they like to say these days. Whenever somebody holds two titles, which I hate when somebody has two titles because I always got to call them. Starting with Becky Lynch, Becky two belts, and now it's Tyra Valkyrie two belts or whatever that chick's name, Lyra Valkyrie. Tyra, I guess, was Johnny Nitro's wife. I don't know.
I can't keep. There's so many Valkyries, and it's hard to keep up with. I do like the fact that somebody probably walked up to Jeff before the main event and goes, "Hey, we need you to turn heel." But I'm still the tag champs. We'll figure it out, but we need you to turn heel this match.
Your dad said it's cool. Are you sure? Yes.
Thinking about the tag match is just saying that anything can happen in a tag. It can end up 3-on-1.
We'll turn this up just a little bit here.
Yeah.
Sometime, and I have to defend, 3-on-1, 4-on-1 if I was to get hurt.
Watch Brian's face throughout
I couldn't
this.
defend the unified. What I worked for 7.5 years. I mean, if I couldn't defend that, this is what I worked for. He would have nothing to lose. I would have this to lose, and I just don't think that
nothing to lose.
Titles, I just don't think they're worth it. I don't think this. I'm not going to put myself in this situation. I'm just not going to do it.
Jeff, you've agreed to the.
And I know I've agreed to do it, but I agreed to this match before I became the champion.
Well, that's true, but
and I mean, this is what everybody works for. And I don't think he can doubt me.
Nerdy wrestling marks would cry these days saying he just buried the tag team titles. The same kind of people that cried about Joe Henry at WrestleMania would hate that.
Come on now, we got to defend our tag team titles. I know you feel that way, but I mean, I hate that.
Well, they're in the minority. They only have like 53 people listening to them. So.
Exactly. The stars here.
Uh-oh.
You got the world title. But if you don't get in the ring and defend the title,
You're going to take a ride with me, son.
You'll have to forfeit the belt. You cannot be the tag team
Look at Brian's
champions
face.
and not.
He looked just like Jerry there.
Yeah.
Now you need to get in the ring right now.
Come on. Now, hold on.
I think the most impressive thing about all this, did you see Midget D get in that wrestling ring without steps?
Without a problem at all.
That would be like me picking myself up on like a 7-foot drop or something. Like all that upper body
And that's
strength.
exactly what I'm doing because the guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. And I just don't see where the tag titles can benefit me this morning. And I'm just going to have to pass on this match.
But I mean, as you said, this would be where the smarks in the wrestling internet community would be like, he's burying the tag titles. He's a heel.
Yeah.
He's supposed to,
Nobody's ever going
to
to tag titles now.
Yeah. No, he's supposed to devalue things that are of value.
Exactly. I see Eddie should have just stepped in as Brian's partner here.
That would have been great.
So, spoiler, we had to change video files. That's why it's suddenly not filling your whole screen. But nonetheless, we're continuing on. PG-13 is demanding here. Jeff has forfeited his half the tag titles. Now PG-13 still want their shot.
Those are pretty tag titles, though.
I like those. Some guy said, like,
Not a tag team.
commented on the video saying they were ugly belts. I'm like, have you seen some of the belts they used in Memphis? This is like the nicest tag belts they ever had in Memphis.
I
Right.
cannot believe what has just happened here today. Andy, listen. Maybe Jeff forfeited, but I can still get in there and wrestle these guys and defend both belts. Can I do that?
It would be funny if, I don't know exactly what happens here. Wouldn't it be funny if Brian did beat both PG-13 members?
A few weeks ago, definitely.
You don't need to do it.
Listen, Eddie, just let me go in here and I'll defend.
But this is a great way to make Brian even a bigger baby face.
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't want to give in. He doesn't want to give the titles up. He wants to fight for them.
Yeah, this is some of the best book stuff we've seen in a while because it makes Jeff a total heel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he ain't just a guy that was an opportunist that threw his feet on the ropes to win the title. He's a complete piece of shit here, abandoning Brian, abandoning saying the tag titles aren't, of any value.
Yeah.
And now Brian's the valiant babyface who's still going to go in and do his best and defend them by himself. So this is good stuff. And I don't know, it's frustrating, man, how you can have like one angle on the show that you see like, man, they really tried with this. Somebody's putting thought into it.
Yeah.
And then 5 other things will take place with apparently without so much as even an ounce of thought, and I know you've made that point a lot here throughout this year that we've covered.
Yeah. And if this was New Japan, Brian would start getting his ass whipped towards the end, and Tony Williams would come out there. Or no,
The new kids are back together. It's the reunion that nobody was waiting for.
You know one thing I did hate? That Jamie used to wear those kick pads on his hands.
Yeah, that was a part of the PG-13 look there for a while.
I remember, hanging around Brian one night, and we were, I don't remember where we were at, but he had some gear in his bag. And he's like, "What if I wore this tonight?" And this was the Grandmaster 6A area where he was wearing jeans and stuff. Yeah. But he had a pair of tights and trunks, just like what he's wearing right there. And it had been at this point years since he had worn anything like that. He's, "What if I just put this on and wear?" I was like, "Do it, please do it. That'd be awesome." He didn't do it, but it was just like, it was nice to know that he still carried that around with him, like just trunks in case something was to happen and he needed trunks, or somebody showed up and needed some trunks or something. I guess he always had them with him.
Well, during the Corey Macklin era that you were there, look at that, drop kick poor Jamie off on the floor. Didn't they have a tag team that wore masks and wore Brian's old gear? Like, hey, he'd wear the two sexy trunks and tights and stuff. I forget what they called them. But
I don't. That might have been right before I got there.
Okay.
I know.
I remember first time they come wearing. I'm like, well, Brian's repurposing his old gear. I see.
I remember the one time I went to his house. He had a walk-in closet that was just full of gear. Like I'm talking like the biggest closet you've ever seen, like a 16 by 16 foot closet. Yeah. And it was just racks all the way around, like it was a dry cleaner's place that just had gear all over the place.
Well, I remember doing a show with him in Tupelo one night, and he was wrestling Barry Wolf, a local guy. And Brian comes in and he was doing the the Grandmaster sexy thing then too. And he comes in, he goes, Barry, check this out. And he throws his bag up. He's so excited. He opens it up and he pulls out that purple sequin jacket we've seen him wear on here a bunch of times in this era. He's like, "Why don't you wear this to the ring tonight?" Barry's like, "Yeah, man, if it's cool with you." He's like, yeah, it'll look good. Put this on. And they put it on. He's like, "Yeah, look at him, man. Look at him." And so for one night, like, Barry had a really snazzy jacket that Brian Christopher had been seen wearing 10,000 times, and he wore it against Brian Christopher. But it looked good on him. But Brian was so happy to bring that for him to wear it.
I remember when I was training, Kevin White, he was like, we were going to do a show somewhere, and my gear was just terrible. So they brought me some gear, and I was like, cool. And what they brought me was the Spellbinder's gear. And now I don't know if you remember this. Spellbinder had a great body.
I remember that on here a couple more once.
And his singlet was one of these like beefcake type singlets that showed a lot of your body. It was not meant for
like the cutout section, yes, more or less.
Yes, it was not meant for a nearly 300-pound pasty white fat guy to be showing off in it. So it had it was a low cut. It had like the cutout in the thighs.
Yeah.
So my hairy thighs were just showing. I remember I tried to charge it up as much as I could. I got some compression shorts and wore underneath it. And I tried to wear a compression shirt under it, and they were, "No, you need to take that off. You need to just," I was like, "But I don't look good." The more you cover up your body, the more they're gonna know you don't look good. Well, the more I show up my body, they're gonna absolutely know that I don't look good. So yeah, repurposed gear sometimes is cool, but sometimes it's like you're just a fat man in a Spellbinder outfit. This show has actually been really good.
We're starting out strong because man, last week was awful with a capital A, and so this show is starting out really strong.
Somewhere BT is laughing because you can't fast forward it now, can you, Richard?
Richard just had to watch his first full USWA show all year.
But when I watch these shows, most of the times I'm texting with you and Josh anyways.
Yeah.
About how, like, did you see that? And a lot of it doesn't play to like the show we do where we do a recap, because there's things you have to see in the moment, things that you're feeling, and he's like, well, we could talk about it, but it's not the same as this, where you're watching it with your buddies.
And that's why I always kind of thought this might be the way to go, because, I mean, there's only so many clips you can show, but then there's a lot of moments that, like this, we can talk about other things and then we can comment on them when they happen. Slingshot suplex, all of Tully Blanchard there. So I don't know. This may be the format to go in, as long as it doesn't freeze up like it did earlier.
Yeah. Did you notice how ginger that? Oh, Jesus Christ!
That wasn't.
Did you notice how ginger that slingshot suplex was? It was almost like, now if you bounce him off those ropes, you be careful because they could break.
Break my ropes. So Jamie just hit Brian in the back of the head with a chain or something. New champs.
Oh, wow. From the outhouse to the penthouse.
Exactly. Look at Midget D's excited. You can tell.
But you think about it, man. Like, what, 3 months ago, these guys weren't even on TV anymore. Like, they had all but burned their bridge.
Yeah, they were off TV, and then they were back. They were back in matches and getting put on the lower end of the card, but they weren't getting any mic time. They weren't being featured at all. So this is awesome.
Yeah, and we talked about it. We were like, man, they should be pushing them more. So this is their first title run, right?
Yep, the very first one right here.
Wow.
Look at that mullet, son.
Yep, this does it all right here, Dave Brown. You have the.
How many times are they going to say his name?
If you give us a title shot, we will become the champ. Why don't you show us what's in your right pocket right here?
Ooh.
Oh, Dave, I'm calling out.
Your right pocket right there.
Wandering into Ken territory.
Talking about the chain or the crack rock? Which one, Dave? I ain't showing neither one of them. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
We set up an immediate feud.
Carrying on like you're a champion here with these belts. I tell you what, show you're nothing but chumps, man.
Ooh, rough talk.
You know why you're nothing but a champ, brother?
Dave Brown out there. Won't you show me what's in your pocket there?
Jesus Christ, Dave, take it easy. What would Lance say?
Let me tell you something.
That's something you can never do, is have your hand in your pocket. Jeff Gaylord accidentally crushes the trachea of his partner. Yeah, that's something you can never do, is have your hand in your pocket and utter the phrase, "Guess what I'm doing."
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's not scheduled here today, but he's right. There's a match sign.
We got some matches signed with you guys in the future here. If you guys are true
In the
champs,
future.
you got chumps. Why don't you two little trolls?
Mr. Marlin said we get a title shot. You got to give it to us.
You know what sucks is this is PG-13's first reign, but the guys on the right, there's already one of them's already been a tag champion. That's the sad part.
There's going to be a whole lot of people that want to wrestle us. But you
What
see,
the hell is Midget D doing? He keeps looking toward the back.
and nothing to gain.
He's like, is there anybody better they can send out
And
here?
everybody else.
Right.
He's like, did they get a midget? Or
You gotta put something up. So the only
Mini
way to
Gaylord.
make this a title shot,
What a
Gaylord's out here.
put that long, pretty hair up.
He's just the right height to be called Mini Gaylord, if you know what I mean. I think you do.
But he did offer to make it a title
Oh,
match.
man.
But Mr. Brown, we're supposed to get a title shot.
Oh.
I put out a clip of one of those promos and put the whiniest promo in wrestling history, and it's got like 10,000 views of Mike Anthony and Gaylord out there whining.
He's supposed to be the baby face.
Oh, right in the top of the head. What a maneuver.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. But that's not all. You can also check out the Puro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puro Resu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
Hey, it's Bob Smith, and guess what? The Outdated Wrestling Hour is now part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. But hey, no fear, you're still going to hear the unique guests, comedy, music, authors, journalists, funny people. Who knows who's going to end up on the Outdated Wrestling Hour? Remember, it's all new and all old. So check it out in the WrestleCopia Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcasts. Listen if you know what's good for you.
This guy's look just threw me off. That was the middle of thought. Was like if Tiny Tim was regular.
Thank you very much, everybody.
I got an email from this guy recently.
Who is this?
This is Tom Nunnery, a musician that Lawler made a lot of those music videos with back in the day.
Yeah.
And so somebody, I have all this USWA footage on my YouTube channel and, in my collection. And I don't know, somebody's like spreading the rumor like I own it, or at least, have some rights to it or something. So this guy messaged me and he wanted a clip for like a news appearance. And so, yeah, man, I can send you that. And he's like, well, I need you to like let me get a permission slip from you. I'm going to send you over some paperwork and you sign off on it. I'm like, I don't own it. I just have it. He's like, well, can you please still sign it? Because the TV station won't air it unless somebody signs off on a thing. I'm like, yeah. Okay. So I signed it and sent it back to him. So there's going to be some clip of Lawler that's going to be airing, and courtesy of the Retro Wrestling Archive, they're going to put over my YouTube channel. So.
Nice. Please tell me this is not what I think it is.
This is, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's a very special occasion, and Lawler's singing. And I actually referred to this last week, nightmare. Did he just call this a nightmare?
He said, let's pray that this nightmare will be over. That's what he said. Hopefully,
so he's referring to the case that we've talked about, but the way that sounded, that just all came together in a horrible way.
I'll tell you what we did, Dave Brown. As soon as we were done, we locked that door, we chained that door, and we burnt that building to the ground.
Sometimes God needs a little help riding the ship. Oh my God.
They ain't special anymore. They're in heaven. The ultimate heel turn.
So we actually referred to this last week. We read something from Meltzer that was actually a week ahead, and this is Meltzer saying that this show is serving as like Lawler's personal, hey, look at me, I'm a good guy phase during his lawsuit.
I don't touch them all.
So this is the Jerry Lawler Thank God for Kids video right here.
That's a terrible that's a terrible song. It's like, you think about it now, the PR move. You're fighting for your life.
There was an American Eagle back there saluting the monitor in the back as this played.
Oh man.
Ain't that the truth?
You're fighting for your life against allegations that he's fighting against, and you choose the song.
Yeah, I do not understand the logic here. I thought this was pretty counterproductive, if you ask me. Let's prove. We're going to prove this case wrong, Judge. Take a look at this video right here. Listen to this song. I think it'll tell you what you need to hear. Guilty.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made this video worse if they cut to Jerry and he's licking his lips. It's like, Jesus Christ. Who's the PR man?
Oh. Oh, somewhere right now, Josh and BT are like, thank God we set this one out.
Right.
Holy. Well, you can't leave those two unattended. terrible. I don't know how this is helping his case at all.
No.
Oh,
And you were talking about you can't leave us two unattended. Not
we were talking about me and you, not
not the two people that were on screen.
Yeah, this video thing might be a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, makes it harder to edit. That's for sure.
Because you can just not talk about things if you don't
Okay.
want to on the recap, but this is it's right there.
Yeah.
Slow motion for an awkwardly long time with an awkward song playing.
Yeah, that's probably not. Don't put your hand there, Lawler. Oh man. Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett sets them free, and then well, never mind.
But I mean, that's the worst song to pick.
It's like it was a rib on him. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's about to come out right now and go, hey, that song was a bad choice. And when I watched it back.
Dave Brown, I was catfished on that song. They told me they were going to play something else, like some ZZ Top or something. She's got legs.
She don't yet know how to use
it. Hopefully the end is in sight. It is just amazing to me how this whole thing has snowballed. A story told basically innocently by a young lady to another person, and then this person told someone else, and this whole thing just like snowballed. Now
good.
The
I don't
young
know
lady
if it's
has
talking about
come forward
snowballs
said
and
that she made the story
a little
up,
girl
it's
told
not
an innocent
true.
story about.
But still, the thing is,
And the
it's
story
still
was they were in a
going on, but
hotel
just
room watching
hopefully it all
cartoons
drops
together,
through
and it got out of hand.
as
So
Tom
I
said,
don't know that
everything
that
can
story
get
needed
back
to get told. If
And I
that's
want to thank everybody for their support. I really appreciate it because it means a great deal.
There's a lot of that. Okay, King. Good luck in the match.
The explanation there sounded way worse.
And the sad thing is, this isn't the live version. Like, they edited the show together and like, hey, we need to put all that stuff with Lawler in there.
Yeah. Because you think about it, every case that comes up like this that you hear about, it's, well, someone told somebody and then they told a parent. You know what I mean? Oh,
yeah, I know, right?
I don't know. It's like that old Jim Norton thing. It's like, I don't say, shut your mouth and lawyer up, but shut your mouth and lawyer up.
I feel like Reggie B is going to tell you what, Lawler, if you can beat me, I'll get you one of age.
Did he kill a polar bear?
That's what it looks like.
What animal died that had that much fur on it?
It's quite the fur coat. Got sweet Georgia Brown with him.
Reggie was wearing a shirt under the jacket.
Under the jacket.
Still holding on to that hair as hard as he can.
Yeah, he was trying at this point. He
I've been there, man. I've been there.
Yeah, I threw in the towel a few years back.
It would almost be a burden now if my hair started growing in, Like I haven't styled a hairstyle in I don't even know how I would do it, The last time I styled my hair, it was like I was in like high school and I was gelling it. So I don't even know what I would do, to style hair now.
Yeah, it's been a while since that's been an issue for me, so I know what you're saying. That woman does not like Reggie.
She's throwing up Heil Hitlers to him.
That's what it looked like.
Look at everybody's doing it.
He's pointing over there. You see this white man?
Why is everybody throwing up Nazi signs at me? I'm not even from Germany.
I mean, it was like almost like Reggie B exclusively wrestled Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett. Like almost every time he got in the ring on TV, that's who he's wrestling.
Well, he did a really good job at killing time.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to do much.
I mean, it don't get much easier than this. But, listen to the reaction he's getting. Which doesn't always make for an exciting experience at home, but...
Yeah. I worked with Reggie once in Ripley.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, before the match, I was... He wasn't there yet. And I was there early. And I was trying to get a feel for, like, what some of the stuff he likes to do. And I was talking to Alan Steele. I was like, hey, I'm working Reggie. Is there anything I should expect or anything he likes to do? And he's like, Don't worry about it. It's gonna be like one of the easiest matches you've ever had.
He likes to stall. And
Yeah.
work the crowd.
I think we did stall. I may have given him one body slam. Stall. Cheat. Stall. I remember I was in a rear chin lock at one point, and I don't even remember the ending of the match. I just remember we sat out there and just stalled for most of the time. It looks weird seeing Reggie in tights too.
Yeah, especially that color scheme there. That's a new one. We hadn't seen that yet on TV. Raise my hand.
You can't leave these two unattended.
Oh man, this may end up being called the lost episode. Pulled down. The one episode WrestleCopia refuses to air.
Yeah, I do like Lawler's tights though.
Yeah. He normally wore those with the blue singlet. He was on a lot of promo pics and magazine covers and stuff wearing those. Reggie Fine. For some reason, it sounds different when you don't throw the B in there. It sounds weird when Corey goes, Reggie Fine.
Right. I mean, the crowd is packed.
Yeah.
And they're into this.
You couldn't even fit the dog kennel cage in there that morning if they didn't do that.
You know they had to expect a big crowd though, because like this, like I've talked to people around here about somebody's running a comedy show in Jackson next week, which is Memorial Day weekend. I'm like, they're going to lose their ass because nobody is in Jackson for Memorial Day. But if you wanted to run a comedy show the weekend after Thanksgiving or the weekend after Christmas, you'd probably get people just because they're tired of being around their families.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wrestling was ingenious. Like, I want to go see somebody get punched in the face like I want to punch my sister in the face. We've been in this house together.
Look at punching him in the butt.
Yeah.
What the
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh, she just handed him something.
Well, that's a belt.
Yes.
Oop.
Right in front of the ref.
Lawler just starts getting hard.
I want to thank you for watching the final episode.
Don't do it. It's a bad look, Lawler. Don't. Ah, fuck, you did it.
We're going to get a lawyer calling 256 egg iron one of these days. Play it on the show. They're like, no, guys, that was a real attorney. That's not a bit. There he is. I was afraid we weren't going to get to see Rex Hargrove this week.
Man. We were having such a good show. And then Rex Hargrove. I thought he had quit by now.
We got to be getting close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Lawler's like, please stop shittily kicking me.
I think he's out by Christmas at least. That was his present to the world. Well, Jeff's not going to help him.
No.
I guess Brian's still knocked out from getting hit in the head with that chain by JC Ice.
So there's nobody. Good Lord, just don't send Gaylord and the other one.
Eddie Marlin's going to have to take that suit coat off and go clean house.
Fucking Frank Morrell ain't even getting in there.
Mr. Hargrove, leave him alone. There comes Brian.
There's Brian.
He about tripped over.
Reggie Fine. Why does he keep saying it like that?
I don't know. Oh, Lord.
Brian. Oh, what happened? The titty popped out.
Oh, we had to blur it? You sons of bitches.
Oh, no. Somewhere Josh is sad that he missed the show. I wonder if anybody has that live copy.
Well, the live copy had to, and his grandmother probably had it.
Josh is going to be scouring to find that tape, and when he finds it, it's going to be worn out.
Nope, it's going to have broken from all the pausing in that one spot.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, we got to tell him November 27th, 1993 episode, because he found the one with the dead head and Leatherface, so he's liable.
Yeah.
You tell him there's Toni Adams' titties got exposed on. How was that not talked about more? If that's what actually happened.
Oh, that had to be. Look at the top. There has
she's barely in there right now.
You might not have seen a nipple, but definitely half of the boob meat was out. No, it isn't.
Well, it was originally. Maybe not by the time I got it at a thrift store.
That's like that old line. How much you pay for it?
Exactly. Lance Russell would have been there. He'd be like, come on. You got that at Goodwill, Tony.
Dave Brown's like, $3,000, but it can't hold your titties in, huh? I'm still not over how many times PG-13 said Dave Brown in that interview. It was almost like they were going to fight Dave Brown.
Exactly. And then Rex Hargrove always looks like he's holding a dip in his mouth when he's talking. Oh, I'll break you down like a shotgun. I'll break you like a twig.
Brian Christopher receiving all sorts of threats from Toni Adams and Rex
Hargrove.
Hargrove has got a match coming up.
Josh is going to be upset. I'm sure he remembers it. Uh-oh.
We're gonna
Our buddy Dale.
He will track it. Hey, brother, I'm still wearing this gay lumberjack outfit. I don't know, man.
Can I interest you in a paper towel?
Her titties is out. My testicles are out. It's a mess over here.
That would be some shit if they just have to blur some of the match during a roll-up because his nut fell out.
His whole lower half's just blurred out.
Dale's a good guy.
That was an early trick from the Spellbinder.
We might actually get it here.
Oh my
that's
God.
Bullshit. That is such bullshit. We might see a nut here, though. Be honest with you.
Pull that camera back, folks. That was not a flattering shot. That was not flattering.
What the hell was that?
Hey, I checked him early because he had a nut out in there, Dave.
They might want to check him for a hernia. That don't look right.
This was the episode of 1,000 wardrobe malfunctions before that was even a term.
I know Dale was green, but they could have given him something there.
Exactly.
Making him lose to Rex Hargrove. In the worst way ever. It's like, hey, turn your back.
And he didn't even hit him with anything. He just hit him in the back of the head. All right. Phi Delta Slam the Scorpion against Eagle Justice, Jeff Gaylord, and Mike Anthony. So that is, you know who.
Yep.
Tell by the white boots.
Yep. No, Mr. Uncle Mr. Uncle Danny was not making the trip today.
No.
Who's the guy in the black there?
Scorpion.
Whew. So is this the guy that was attacking Sting and doing the magic tricks?
We're going to assume it has to be. Sting. Justice, I know about those pictures in your bag because you don't have a computer yet.
Yeah.
Do you remember 1989? Justice. Junior high.
His favorite phrase back then was use a Polaroid. Nobody sees those. Could you imagine, though, working at a photo like place? Like I used to work at like Walmart, and we had the photo.
1 hour photo lab in Walgreens, and I saw some very simple things.
Yeah, like I never really remember seeing anything like, because this was towards the end of pictures, but you imagine like there was a bunch of people that saw everything and nobody ever thought anything about it. Like they just thought everything was, private.
Like people would always ask me, like, you work in a photo lab, like you must see a bunch of naked pictures. And I'm like, yeah, and it's never anyone you would want to see naked. One time there was this chick that looked like she should have been in Playboy out of 1,000 god awful naked pictures.
Yeah. How many copies did you make of it?
I didn't get a chance to. That's a funny story we'll tell on the post show sometime.
So there was this one guy kept taking pictures of his horrible wiener. It's like he wanted me to see it.
He made a lot of eye contact when he dropped those off.
And in the pictures, ironically. Could you imagine that, though? Like, somebody that's how you harass the photo person? You're just making them look at your penis while you're looking at the camera. Just 32 shots. And he's wearing different underwear in all of them. It's weird.
Holding up little signs that say, you know you like it, and stuff like that.
What are you doing today, Terry? I'm trying to seduce the photo porn person. Man, he ain't taking none of that shit. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, uh-oh.
Look at that quick kick.
It was broken down in that day. Oh, three-way.
Oh.
And the Scorpion gets pinned. Who could have predicted that?
Gaylord. You don't call him Jeff Gaylord. It doesn't sound right. Reggie Fine and Gaylord.
Reggie Fine and Gaylord in there.
Dave Brown looks like he's had it.
Well, you know, he works for the TV station. They don't have titties pop out. It's going to be a meeting. He knows there's going to be a meeting Monday morning. Like, you saw what that bitch was. This is the commercial we have to see. Zamfir, master of the pan flute.
Turn this up. Maybe we won't get copyright stricken.
Gaylord.
On radio and
looks a little like Mel Gibson.
He does. It's like older Mel Gibson. He's really enjoying that right now. I swear this feels like a Saturday. I love it. Like, first time I watched it, like, this can't be a thing. Like whoever edited these together, like, spliced this in as a reel. Like, because they cut out every commercial. If you noticed, there hasn't been a commercial yet until this.
Yeah.
And we get every painful minute of it.
It's like we willed it into, like, existence, though.
You ever known anybody that played the pan flute, Richard?
No, I didn't even know it was a thing until I went to the flea market one day and there was a Native American man with a dream catcher on his mic playing My Heart Will Go On to a drum track. It was. I looked around like, is this real life? Like,
big fan of Zamfir when I grew up.
Danny Boy.
I'll play Indian Outlaw by Tim McGraw. My big closer.
He finishes and just throws a tomahawk at a random person. Oh, dude! This is look at the timeline that they have right there in front of you. Cassettes, CDs, and records all in the same area.
2 LPs, 2 cassettes, $12.98. Allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Compact disc for $19.99.
Yeah, then they were overpriced.
Can you imagine having that in your car? Like, I could imagine a long drive with a Zamfir CD where you're not Eddie Marlin the shit out of somebody.
Exactly. I imagine that was playing the night they flipped that truck.
This is Zamfir.
You know, Pops, this is fabulous.
Right. Yeah. 10 minutes later, they're sleeping.
Listening to Toni Adams and making his own decision about it, Jeff Jarrett did this right here at time for the tag team title.
Replaying, taking the belt off.
Yeah.
He did this right here. Look at Eddie's face. It's like, you son of a bitch.
I am leaving here with the unified title, and I am not going to stay and help Brian.
I love how they narrated that.
Yeah. It's hard to follow if you don't really break it down what's happening.
I feel like those people in that.
He takes the belt off, he hands it to Eddie Marlin and walks away. He's like, he said he didn't want the belt and he wasn't going to stay. Like, yeah, Dave, we saw that the first time. We really didn't need a recap.
I feel like that even the people in that video with Mr. Nunnery would have been able to decipher what was going on without the commentary.
I'm not that retarded.
You don't have to explain. We still have to take belt off. We get it.
and as we close the show, Dave is still wanting to know what was in Jamie's pocket. So I figure he's going to follow that up after the show.
What you got in that
show me what's in your pocket. Why don't you reach in there and get it, Dave, if you're so worried about it? Get you a handful of what's in that pocket.
I'm going to tell you it's butterscotch, but you'll grab all penis.
All right, so let's take our last commercial break of the show here, and then we'll come back and we'll run down the card for Memphis that came out of this show that we just watched in real time. Well, not real time, but you know what I mean.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday at noon, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Wrestling Nostalgia, the podcast that dives into wrestling history. Hey, wrestling fans, I'm Dave Dynasty, and if you enjoy podcasts that are knowledgeable and history-driven, then Wrestling Nostalgia is for you. With great guests and fun interviews, there are over 200 episodes in our archives. We chat with several first-time guests and often cover topics not discussed on other podcasts. Look up Wrestling Nostalgia on your favorite podcast platform and visit all of our links at linktree/wrestlepod. That is linktr.ee/RASSLEPOD. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jarrett, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, guys. So this is going to be maybe a little less dramatic than normal, as we're really just going to have Richard asking. But I mean, I guess I'll answer. I don't always answer these questions, so I guess I can answer too to make up for Josh being absent. So, Richard, what was your least favorite part of today's show?
The Rex Hargrove Spellbinder match. Like, it was just too short. I feel like they were running short on time now that we saw the ending. But yeah, you know, I thought we were going to get through without having Rex on there, and then he's got to pick up a win over our guy Dale. So, least favorite part of the match was definitely that.
I feel like we could have trimmed out at least part of my least favorite part of the show. We could have trimmed out the Jerry Lawler, hey, I'm not that bad of a guy segment. Cut out one of those videos, and probably if you're going back and picking, if he had a DeLorean to go back in time, maybe we cut the one set to the tune of Thank God for Kids. I mean, if you just sit in on that creative meeting like, hey, you know, guys, is there something we could do to kind of help my reputation, to kind of send a message out there that I'm not a bad guy and that I would never do something like this with a child.
Right.
And I mean, who come up, was it Jerry? Like, well, we could show a video of you with them special kids and we could play. Remember that song? Thank God for Kids. What if we played that? I think that's a great idea. We should do that. I think people would never ever think you could be a bad guy if you help them. That's how we met back in the day.
The only thing that would have made that worse is if they went to a fucking water park. Like,
if they showed him as Santa, just with all of them sitting in his lap, one after another, and they just keep there sitting higher and higher each time they sit down.
Jesus. Oh, shaky hand coming for our.
We may have to scrap this week's show. What was your most favorite part of this week's episode?
I was entertained by the Brian taking on PG-13, and then that was the first article of it, and then the other side of it is PG-13 getting the titles for the first time. We've been huge PG-13 fans on here. Thought that maybe their age and their immaturity at the time kind of held them back a little bit, but they were by far for the most part the most over things on the show for a while there. And now you're starting to get into that. We don't have the WWE guys here as much anymore because of what's going on
at all anymore for now.
Yeah. You lean on, your homegrown talent, and these two guys were over. So now why not lean on them? So I think this was a great move by them. It made sense. And I was excited for them. That was actually my favorite part of the show, is just seeing them win the titles.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. That was my favorite part as well. But I do want to put over again, because we have been hard on her, so to speak, in the past. I really liked the segment with Toni Adams and Jeff Jarrett. It really set the stage for Jeff to have and it didn't just come out of the blue where Jeff just decides during a commercial break that, you know what, screw these belts. I'm not going to, she planted that seed, and he thought about it during the commercial, and he comes back out and he's like, you know what, this chick's right. This title ain't worth, putting myself at risk for.
Right.
Brian's not a trustworthy dude anyway. So Eddie Marlin, here's your belt. I'm out. Right. And again, if you go back and you watch that segment, if you watch Brian's face through the whole thing, he sells each step of the way.
Yep.
His face, tells the story of what's happening right there. So you could almost, and was making fun of it there at the end when Dave felt the need to recap it. But I feel like you could take the segment and watch it with the sound off, and watching Jarrett's actions, taking off the belt, giving him Eddie Marlin, Brian's face, you can go like, oh, okay, he's handing over the belt, leaving Brian high and dry. Now Brian has to wrestle by himself. So really great stuff. And from a story perspective, I think this is the best episode we've seen in quite a while, at least for the first half of the show. Kind of goes downhill from there. But if you watch the first segment, it's definitely worth going back and checking out, folks. So.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm sitting here, we talked about, I think before the camera started rolling today, we talked about those aha moments. I realized why Josh isn't here. Josh knew what this episode was. He knew this was the titty pop out episode, and he didn't want us to see his true freak form that he knew he was going to take when he saw that blur spot pop up. Like, he knew exactly what was going to happen. He just didn't want us to see it. Like, he had to have known. As much of a Memphis historian as Josh was, he knew what this episode was. And he knew if he was here that we were going to see him in his randiest form.
That's right. He knew you was going to be sitting there across from him, and he didn't want to have a pillow in his lap. So he just skipped out on this one. So to recap, our favorite part of this was PG-13 winning the USWA Tag Team titles, and now clearly USWA understands what they have in PG-13. They're about to strap the rocket to their back. They're about to have a tremendous run as champions. Let's take a look at what happens at the Mid-South Coliseum and see if that's exactly true. November 29th, 1993. We don't know how many people were there. There's not a report on that. USWA at the Mid-South Coliseum. In the opening match, Del Rios beats the Wolfman. Don't know who the Wolfman is. Probably the Scorpion with a Teen Wolf mask or something. But anyway, in the second match, King Cobra beat the Warlock via disqualification. In the third match, Little Eagle beat Midget D in a loser eats dog food match. I could have swore we just did that with Toni Adams a week ago, did we not? We were talking about the corned beef hash and all that in last week's report.
Yeah.
So
Midget
apparently,
he ain't worried about losing this match. We give him dog food all the time.
Apparently, we bought a case of corned beef hash, and we're going to have a series. There for a while, we had loser leave towns every week. For a while, we had hair matches every week. Now we're going to have loser eats dog food every week.
Dog food is sponsored by Alpo.
Now, as we've seen in the past, apparently Phi Delta Slam has come up from Florida. They've made the loop a couple of weeks. They've seen what the payoffs are going to be. So the American Eagles defeated Phi Delta Slam in a loser leaves town match. At least they went around and lost loser leaves town and didn't just bolt like some of these other teams we've seen that show up and immediately leave. So there's that. Then in the next match, Jeff Gaylord and Tiger Mike Anthony defeat PG-13 to win the USWA Tag Team titles they had just won 2 days prior on television.
Terrible.
Damn it. Then, in a USWA heavyweight title match that there is no inkling of on the show we watched, you never even knew this happened other than Dave mentioned it in the promo with Jeff Jarrett when he was berating. And we were talking over it. If you watch the show, Dave kind of berates Jeff for cheating. And he says that he pinned Jerry with his feet on the ropes the same way Buddy Landel had pinned him earlier in the card to win the USWA Championship. Well, Monday night, Buddy Landel fought to a double countout with Dirty Dutch Mantel. I would have loved to have heard from either one of those guys on this show.
Yeah, would have been better than hearing from Rex Hargrove.
Yes, absolutely. Now check this match out. And you talking about out of nowhere, Medusa pins Allison Royal.
Yeah.
Now, I've followed Memphis a lot. If you would have asked me 4 days ago before I watched the show, hey, did Medusa ever wrestle in Memphis? I'd have said, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Well, here she is. At best, I think she wrestled on those, when the AWA did those TV tapings leading into Super Clash 3 in 88. I think she wrestled on those, but I don't really count that because that was an AWA show. They just happened to tape it in Memphis. But this is her on a USWA card wrestling. And it's not Miss Texas. Who's nowhere to be seen on this show, which is kind of weird. I would have loved to have seen Medusa versus Miss Texas, right?
Yeah. I wonder if this was in between Medusa and Alundra Blaze, because we're getting about that time, aren't we? Yeah.
Well, I think Alundra Blaze was about 95. So, but I think she comes in 94. So this probably was leading to that eventually. So, but yeah, very interesting. Then Jerry Lawler beat Smoky Mountain heavyweight champion primetime Brian Lee via disqualification. So again, we cut out any mention of that. So I guess Brian Lee wasn't going to be going around doing the other towns because he's going to be working for Smoky Mountain. So we just don't talk about it on these shows. And I get that. Okay, Rex Hargrove beats Brian Christopher via disqualification in a loser receives 10 lashes match. So Brian got 10 lashes here.
Jeez.
And then in the main event, I wish we knew how much this drew. Jerry Lawler and Brian Christopher defeated the Real Man, Rex Hargrove, and the Birdman. No, not Coco Beware. Actually, Reggie B. Fine is in the main event of the Mid-South Coliseum, folks. That's right. There he is in all his glory. Yes, he may have lost, but Reggie B. Fine is in a main event in 1993. I remember when I first was reading the results and I skimmed over it the first time, I just saw the B and I was like, all right, Rex Hargrove and Coco Beware. And then when I pasted it into this document, I'm like, no, that's Reggie B. in the main event. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
Good for Reggie, as Corey Macklin would say.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks his tag team partner was Rex Hargrove, but he's there. He's made it,
I wonder who got pinned in that match, Richard. So let's take a look at some notes here from the Wrestling Observer real quick. Now, 2 weeks in a row, Buddy Landel was on the show on Memphis and on the live version. We don't have the live version, so we got screwed out of seeing Buddy Landel. So after I read these results, I was like, damn it, I hope he's the freaking champion. I hope Buddy Landel is on our TV show next week. Well, here's the notes from Meltzer. In the USWA, Buddy Landel has left the promotion, reportedly because he was asking for a nightly guarantee and was turned down. Wow. So they had a phantom title change with Landel's USWA title going to Brian Christopher. Jeff Jarrett, who hasn't been in the promotion since winning the title, remains the unified champ and will probably come to the Memphis in the next couple of weeks since there are no WWF shows he has to defend. He'll be defending against Lawler. The tag team titles went from PG-13 to Mike Anthony and Jeff Gaylord on the 29th after a very, very short title reign. That's disappointing, man. When they won the titles, I was like, all right, finally, we're going to do something with PG-13. They freaking lose them on Monday night to Gaylord and Mike Anthony. Of all people. So, not happy about that. I know you're not either.
No, not at all. Like, because You took the titles off of your two guys that people want to get behind. They want to see. They want to at least, if they don't want to cheer them, they want to cheer people that are beating them up. And you take the title. And I've always been told the money's in the chase.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why give the two dorky baby faces the titles this soon? If are we worried that the money isn't in the chase with these two? Like, no one's going to want to see it. Maybe the chase is the heels get the titles back.
Well, I'll tell you what you've never heard. The money's in Jeff Gaylord.
I've heard the money's in Jeff Gaylord's bank bag.
Till the cops catch up with him anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and I even forget freaking Anthony's name every once in a while. So like that's how important he is to me.
How could you forget my name?
That's how important he is to me. So yeah, the fact that they took the titles off, and what happened to Little Eagle or whatever his name is? They're not feuding with him, so he got his release papers.
No, he beat Midget D in a.
Oh, that's right. That's a dog food. But he wasn't on the TV
doing it without
show.
his mask. Yeah, he's not on the TV show, which neither was Danny either. But they've shaved Midget D's head. They've took off his mask. You figure, all right, well, we got to be now we're eating dog food. So it's the only two midgets we got. So we're just going to put them in matches each week, just like how Miss Texas and whatever woman's there at any given time will just wrestle each other endlessly. So. Yeah, I don't know how much more of that we got going on, but that's where we're at. We're eating dog food for the second week in a row. I don't understand doing those. I understand you can pull that gimmick out every now and again, and crowds like, oh, let's see who's going to eat dog food. But it's like, hey, let's see who's going to eat dog food this week. Like, we watched the blonde woman gag on dog food last week. I mean, we got to assume that PG-13's probably feeding Midget D dog food anyway, and perhaps the Eagles are, for that matter. We don't know.
Right. Well, they won't have it after this week. I'm under good word that Mr. Nunnery took the rest of it over to that place that they were filming that video.
Thank God for kids. I cannot believe that's what we went with.
Yeah, it's terrible. Is he the one that
you can't write that?
No,
you know what I mean. Like if we were this show has turned into a lot more comedy than we intended for it to be starting out.
Yeah.
But if we were going to dub over music to make fun of, I wouldn't have even thought of that song. Or if somebody's like, if we were having like a little meeting about, hey guys, what song could we put over that? And it'd be funny. And you know as well as I do. If Josh and like, hey, what if we put that song? Thank God for Kids. Me and you being comedy minded would be like, that's a little too on the nose, Josh. That's like too obvious. Like it's so obvious it wouldn't even be funny. But there we are. They did it themselves.
What failed? What suggestion failed? Did somebody suggest stroking? And it's just like, well, can't do that. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, I can't imagine that there was a worse suggestion.
Yeah, if anybody has any ideas for what would have been a worse suggestion for a song, please send it to us over on the Facebook page. I'd love to hear it, and we will definitely say it on the show next week because I'm drawing a blank of what could potentially be worse. But
we've got comments on this video. Just type a song in. Nobody will know what you're talking about but us.
Yeah, we'll know, and we'll laugh, and we'll repeat it on the show. Unless you don't want us to, and then we'll repeat it anonymously. We won't rat you out. But all right, well, that's going to be it for this week. So P3 Radio, we recorded. I don't know where I'm lost on where we're at on things, but
all this
my timeline's all messed up now.
You're like Hogan. You've done like 400 shows in the past 2 months because of time change and everything. No, we re-recorded last night. A lot of toilet humor on this one. A lot of poop stories.
So that's this week. Okay, well, I heard most of that driving back from Mississippi last night.
I
heard most of that. It popped up, and I was like, "Hey, I need something to listen to," and I clicked on it. I laughed out loud, like laughed my head off when you said, "Yeah, I was sitting there at the bar with a friend of mine and Gene Jackson, and then Josh called you out on it."
I immediately stopped. I was like, well, "That sounds bad. That doesn't sound like." Sounds like I don't look at Gene as a friend. But I was like, no, I mean, like Gene, everybody knows Gene. And I was like, and a friend of mine, but yeah, it didn't come out right.
But before Josh even said something, I was laughing. And then once he did that and you like overcorrected, But yeah, very fun episode. Make sure y'all check it out. I'm not going to be BT and spoil everything they talk about on the episode, but you learn a lot about these guys and their toilet habits in some of the more interesting places, like attics and such, where
it's, and we've talked about it before, and this didn't come up. One of the fun things about it was I've told Josh once that I shit my pants at a Colin Ray concert, and that was the whole thing. But we didn't talk about it on this one. I don't know how that escaped this toilet talk, but yeah.
I love though that whenever you mention it, you don't just say I shit my pants at a concert. It's specifically the Colin Ray concert. Like that played into it. Like if it's been Clint Black, I'd have been fine. But it was Colin Ray, and I could not control my bowels.
It was at the Ag Center in Memphis, and I'd had a few drinks, and I had spent 10 minutes in the bathroom trying to clean my underwear before I just decided, what the fuck am I doing?
If I were you,
right.
You get shit running down your leg.
Right. I'm sitting there with my underwear underneath a hand dryer while I'm a little past Little Rock is playing. What the fuck am I doing with my life? And I just threw the underwear away and prayed to God I didn't have another accident.
Wow, that was check out the episode. They're fun every week, but some wild stories and good recap of the comedy show there as well. So check that out. Again, we want to remind you, 256 Egg Iron. You don't have to be mad and yell at us like certain people do when they call. You can tell something fun, tell something, tell a fun story of your own, whatever you want to do. Tell us your take. Are we overreacting? Was that video actually effective and it made you feel better about Jerry Lawler and it proved to you that he was not capable of the awful things they were accusing him of? Call 256 Egg Iron and weigh in, or send us a text. We'll read it here on the show. And again, we will leave your name off if you don't want to identify yourselves, as we probably should before we say half the things that we say. We should probably blur our faces out and distort our voice or something. But here we are saying it.
Like a Miss Adams titty, we should just blur this whole thing.
Yeah, this whole show should probably be blurred. But I got to have one sent to WrestleCopia before the end of the day, so they're getting it, like it or not. Last week went out unedited, and I got a lot of good feedback, no bad feedback so far.
Well, I mean, who's gonna take up for them? You take up for the ones we mock on this show. We're gonna mock you next.
Yeah,
check your hard drive.
I thought I might get a call from the Yellow Jacket or something mad, but make sure and check out our friend Brian Trammell's STSpod.club. I recently made my debut on the WTF news desk. We had a lot of fun over there. It stirred up some controversy for some people. Some people weren't happy about it, but check it out. It's a good time. I'm going to be returning on there very soon to talk about some things. So a lot of good stuff over there. Brian works really hard to put content out consistently, just like Josh and Richard does. That's who I aspire to be, and it's hard to keep these trains going. Right? It's a lot of work to put stuff out every week, and BT does it every day. I don't know how he does it, but he does. So kudos. Yeah. So anything you want to know about this podcast, any links to any of our social media, if you want to get a hat or a t-shirt or any of the things you've heard us talk about here, you can go to USWApodcast.com and you can find it all there to purchase, to look at, whatever you want to do. It's all available. Also, Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. I host that every week with them. And for all of their social media and the social media of the show, links to where you can hear the show now that it's in a new feed, DougGilbertPodcast.com. And you still can order the Eddie Gilbert book, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, the Uncrowned King of Professional Wrestling, on tinyurl.com/Eddie Gilbert book. Or you can go on Amazon.com, BooksAMillion.com, BarnesandNoble.com. People are getting them in. People are starting to read it, getting a lot of great feedback. And me and Doug appreciate everybody who has purchased a book. And there's some more books in the works. I've had some talks over the past week. I signed on with the publisher to be one of their official in-house writers, and so I'm getting some really fun projects thrown at me already that I can't talk about just yet, but who knows? I may mention them over on the post show over at patreon.com/retro wrestling archive. Richard, anything else before we take it home here?
I think we did it. We're just going to keep Josh in our thoughts. He's going to be very disappointed he missed this episode. So, but no, man, once again, lastly, just thanks again for everybody that came out to the show last week.
Yes.
We're hoping to do it again, maybe after the summer. But yeah, it meant the world to me to have that many people show up from different towns, different states, all in one place to see our little dick joke show. So that was awesome. So thanks again, and thanks for listening to this. It's really cool to hear people talk about what we're talking about. I get messages all the time saying, hey, you remember saying this? And I'm like, no, and they'll repeat it. I'm like, oh, good Lord, we said that. Well, thanks for listening. But yeah, thanks to everybody listening to this.
Yes, thank you. And, you've said this before, but you do this silly stuff and you think, does anybody even listen to this? Is this just an excuse for me, Josh, and Richard to hang out every week? And then you find out that there's people that, not only listen to it, but they look forward to it. And then they talk about it amongst their friend groups and their group chats and things. And I don't know, man, maybe it's kind of sappy, but that kind of stuff's just really cool to me and makes this all worth it. So thank you guys for that. And we're in the home stretch, Richard. We just wrapped up the last show of November. So 4 more episodes to wrap up 1993 as we go through December. And then it's going to be time. We're going to be jumping in the time machine and going even further back. We've been going back to 1993. We're going to be going back to 1991. And I know our friend Josh is super, super excited about that. And I have to say, the way these last few weeks of 1993 have been, I'm getting a little more excited about it each and every week as we draw to the end of 93. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you back here again next week for another episode of the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast.